Tonight on 7 News, the PM's plan to pay for fuel, keeping Victorian drivers on the road, but there's no price relief in sight.
A fire emergency unfolding in Melbourne's east will bring you the latest live.
A dramatic takedown at Westfield Knox in front of stunned shoppers.
Dodgy agents put on notice the real estate tactic that's about to become illegal.
Tiger Woods under the influence and under arrest after crashing his car again.
The Melbourne dad who just kicked more goals than Tony Lockett in a single day.
And more injury pain for the Pies with the captain struck down again.
This is 7 News with Mike Amor and Karina Carvalho.
Good evening. There's a major fire emergency unfolding in Melbourne's east where a home has been destroyed. Paul Dowsley is on the scene in Croydon. Paul, it took more than 50 firefighters to get on top of the blaze.
And Karina, what made it even trickier for them is not just is it a very large home, but it is set back about 100 metres up this driveway off Dorset Road here in Croydon. This fire started around 2:50 this afternoon. That home is now destroyed. It has been the home for the Phillips family for about 29 years. Just the mum and dad live there now. They are retirees in their mid-70s, but they weren't home this afternoon. They were in the city, staying in a hotel in Docklands for the weekend. And they got that dreaded call from their neighbours telling them your house is on fire. By the time they got here, their home was gone. It took firefighters 80 minutes to bring it under control, and they focused not just on the main blaze but also protecting neighbours. A couple of those neighbours I've spoken with were very concerned about their properties because of the intensity of this fire. The family who lived there, they've been taken through what's left of the home, and I spoke with the resident's son who grew up here.
It was a beautiful house. Yeah, gonna miss it. They say the fire started on the left side, which is mainly bedrooms, but it was most likely the pool pump on the external side of that wall that started it.
So at this stage, Karina, the fire is not being treated as suspicious. Dorset Road set to be closed for about another 2 hours.
Yeah, an emotional time for that family. Paul Dowsley in Croydon, thank you.
It's taken almost a month, but the Prime Minister has announced his plan to tackle the fuel crisis.
The federal government will begin underwriting fuel and fertiliser imports, potentially worth hundreds of millions of dollars, as it tries to ease supply risks brought on by the Iran war.
Prodding fuel and fertiliser importers to buy extra shipments, even when prices are through the roof. How? By having government share the risk.
This is prudent planning. This is about being over-prepared.
Prime Minister Albanese announces amendments to export finance laws. It will let the Commonwealth insure fuel giants against losses on strategic shipments.
And it literally will be underwriting the purchase of shiploads of fuel to get here to Australia.
The announcement emphasises the taxpayer will only be guaranteeing additional fuel supplies through trusted operators with networks to get the fuel where it needs to go.
It's an important step showing that the government and industry are looking ahead.
The Energy Minister says Australia's petrol stocks have improved slightly over the last week to 39 days. Diesel steady at 30 days, jet fuel also 30 days.
Our international supply chain remains secure.
Though the PM acknowledges risk.
The longer this war goes on, the more the impacts will be.
No comment, though, on just how much of that risk the government is willing to take on under its new fuel security powers. Single shipments can involve several $100 million worth of fuel. And the Prime Minister is still not ruling out the opposition's plan for a temporary cut to fuel excise.
Our proposal will reduce the price of fuel by 26 cents a litre.
Tim Lester, 7 News. There were other issues raised in the Prime Minister's press conference. Again, he has gone after Australians stockpiling fuel in jerry cans, referring in particular to several videos now running on social media saying he is stunned by these pictures. It's not the Australian way, Mr Albanese says. People should take what they need, no more. And the government is also waving off questions about whether it plans to tax the drivers of EVs. The PM says the budget is in May, suggesting we will need to wait until then to get an answer. Karina.
Tim, thank you.
A man has been arrested during a dramatic police takedown at Westfield Knox shopping centre. Geordie Wright joins us live, and Geordie, he put up quite the fight.
He certainly did, Mike. It all unfolded behind me in the dining precinct. Security called police to the centre around 5:30 last night after a 34-year-old man allegedly threatened and abused the guards when they asked him to leave the centre. Tensions escalated when police arrived. 4 officers escorted him out, but he refused to go quietly. That's when the tussle with the 4 members began. Stunned shoppers and diners watched on as the 34-year-old demanded to be released while crawling on all fours as police tried to restrain him. He was charged with 2 offences and bailed to appear at court at a later date. Mike.
Geordie, thank you.
As the world waits to see if Iran will agree to a US-backed peace plan, Israel has vowed to escalate the war further. It's attacked key nuclear and missile facilities in Tehran, but in an act of retaliation, American soldiers then came under fire.
In the Iranian capital Tehran, rescuers search for survivors, combing through the rubble of an apartment building after another deadly strike. Tomorrow marks 1 month since the war began, and there are few signs of de-escalation. Iran hitting the Prince Sultan airbase in Saudi Arabia today, wounding at least 12 US soldiers and damaging American refuelling planes. The attack coming hours after Israel struck 2 of Iran's nuclear facilities. The US also continuing to hit targets across the country.
They are not the bully any longer. They're on the run.
But America's top diplomat is confident it'll all be over soon.
In a matter of weeks, not months.
Claiming the US can achieve its goals without putting boots on the ground, despite Donald Trump weighing sending another 10,000 to the Middle East.
They're begging to make a deal.
The president's chief negotiator giving more detail about the delicate diplomatic dance with the Iranians.
We think there will be meetings this week. We're certainly hopeful for it.
But the Strait of Hormuz, or as Donald Trump calls it,
the Strait of Trump,
remains a major sticking point. Iran is tightening its chokehold on the critical trade route, charging ships millions of dollars in tolls for safe passage and planning to make it permanent once the war's over.
Not only is this illegal, it's unacceptable, it's dangerous to the world, and it's important that the world have a plan to confront it.
But Iran is not alone. Its Houthi proxies in Yemen are now threatening to join the fight. Worrying signs this war is widening. Protests growing too. The Iranian men's soccer team singing their national anthem holding tiny backpacks ahead of a game against Nigeria, remembering the 165 schoolgirls killed in a suspected American missile attack on the first day of the conflict. In the United States, Rob Scott, 7 News.
Greedy real estate agents have been put on notice with a crackdown on practices that prey on desperate renters. New laws mean they'll no longer be able to charge renters just to apply for a property.
Renters Scarlett and Lou May found the application process exhausting and expensive.
One of them did make us pay, and it would be like, oh, your information is safe for 30 days if you pay this amount.
New laws restrict that practice and are aimed at making it easier for renters. A standardised 5-page rental application form replaces all others.
And that standard form is already online on the Consumer Affairs Victoria website.
As well as the standardised form, it's now an offence for agents to charge application fees. And Consumer Affairs can consider extra factors when assessing rent increases when they're reviewed.
Actually, one application asked us for a profile photo, which I feel like is also a bit strange and maybe a bit too personal.
The New Brunswick residents support the changes.
I guess if we ever move out again, we know it'll be much better thanks to these changes.
But the state opposition says the rules won't help supply problems.
These changes won't make any more rentals available, and that's the concern we've got.
Concern about a potentially weak auction clearance rate evaporated at this sale.
And it's sold. Congratulations to our new bidders.
3-bed, 1 bath, listed for $820, sold for over $1 million on the second busiest March auction week on record.
This is just an amazing result. It shows that there is strength in the market.
But with rising rates and inflation, the market is shaky.
And today's going to be a really good test for that and a really good example of why there needs to be flexibility for vendors right up until auction day, as opposed to the government's plan, which is to declare the auction reserved 7 days prior.
Blake Johnson, 7 News.
To breaking news now, as St Kilda Star is under investigation over an alleged homophobic slur. Live to Kate Massey. Kate, it's not the first time.
Well, Karina, Lance Collard was banned for 6 weeks last year for using a homophobic slur. It seems he could be spending more time on the sidelines. St Kilda forward was in hot water for a swinging arm on a Frankston player in last night's clash. It then sparked a brawl. It's understood that's where the words were exchanged and that they were highly offensive. The AFL is aware, but it's understood the VFL will drive the investigation and any potential penalty. A short time ago, the St Kilda Football Club released a statement saying it takes matters very seriously and is working with the AFL Integrity Unit.
Kate, thank you so much.
7 pro-Palestine protesters have been charged, accused of vandalising the statue of a prominent women's rights campaigner. Police say the all-women group hid behind umbrellas as they damaged the Trades Hall tribute to Zelda Dioprano, who campaigned for equal pay in the late 60s. One of the women was on bail at the time for her alleged attack on a Jewish restaurant in the city last year. The devastation of Cyclone Narelle is only now being revealed as emergency crews take stock of the damage in WA's northwest. The town of Exmouth is cut off by road. The only way in or out is by helicopter.
This is what 250 km/h winds do. Cyclone Narelle unleashed on Exmouth on WA's northwest coast early yesterday, a Category 4. The heartbreak raw.
2 major cyclones and 2 total destructions for that family, so it's pretty horrendous.
And just,
David's family was forced to take shelter in a walk-in wardrobe, the safest place as their roof started to tear apart and the windows blew in.
Found a weakness and the roof has just peeled back and gone over that way, so there's obviously whole sections of the roof about halfway across that have just been torn off.
Tony is 85. He's sheltered in the bathroom.
Just hear the wind and the rain come to that. It was pretty horrible.
The devastation is overwhelming. Everywhere you look, homes and businesses destroyed. Today, Exmouth is a town with no power and no water. The only way in or out of this town now is by helicopter. The roads are washed away, the airport runway severely damaged and the terminal building torn apart. Lucy Murray, 7 News.
American golf legend Tiger Woods has spent the night behind bars after crashing his car again while high on drugs. It happened not far from his mansion, and while he wasn't hurt, the fallout from yet another scandal will be incredibly damaging.
Tiger Woods out of jail, but in a world of trouble.
Tiger! What's Tiger?
Charged, humiliated and at the centre of another ugly drug scandal. This the latest mugshot for his growing scrapbook of shame. Just hours earlier, this photo shows his Range Rover crashed after clipping a trailer. The star himself leaning against a hedge. Police say high on drugs at 2 in the afternoon.
Mr. Woods did exemplify signs of impairment. He was placed under arrest and taken to the Martin County Jail.
The 50-year-old passed an alcohol test but was charged when he refused to provide a urine sample.
It doesn't matter who you are. If you break the law, we're going to follow the law.
Tiger knows the drill. He's been here before. 17 years ago, he hit a fire hydrant after a ferocious argument with his wife that ultimately exposed his infidelity and led to divorce. In 2017, he was found asleep behind the wheel of his Mercedes, off his head on medication. And in 2021, he was nearly killed in this high-speed crash in California.
The whole thing makes me very sad.
And this time, this repeat offender is likely to pay a hefty penalty for his latest wayward drive. Hugh Whitfeld, 7 News.
The city will be brought to a standstill tomorrow with thousands to pound the pavement to raise funds for the Royal Children's Hospital. Blake Johnson has the details on the run for the kids, and Blake, a number of roads will be closed.
Mike, yes, drivers tonight and tomorrow will need to plan ahead with road closures starting in just a few hours. The Domain Tunnel closes 10 p.m. tonight, not reopening until 12:30 p.m. tomorrow. Inbound lanes on CityLink between Footscray Road and the Westgate Freeway will also shut early tomorrow morning. Kingsway and Montague Street inbound exit ramps are also closed until 11:30 a.m. And there are more closures around Kings Domain, South Bank, Docklands and the City Grid. Thousands are expected to run tomorrow, including 55 dedicated athletes who have run in all 20 years of the event. And earlier today, some familiar faces grabbed the tongs and started fundraising for the Good Friday appeal at Bunnings in Port Melbourne. And Mike, I understand a second fundraiser has been set up just in case there are any victims of your cooking.
Tyra Stowers burnt a few snags. OK, thank you, Blake.
Mike was actually very good. Well, Collingwood's injury-hit captain has been struck down again.
Theo Doropoulos joins us, and Theo, Darcy Moore's battling another hamstring issue.
Same sort he had a couple of weeks ago, Mike, while Scott Pendlebury is also set to miss Easter Thursday footy up at the Gabba. We'll have details coming up shortly. Also ahead, the Brisbane burst, leaving Ross the only miserable Lion at Marvel Stadium, and a photo finish in one of the greatest Australia Cups of all time at Flemington, plus Oscar Piastri's pole bid in Japan qualifying. All the details soon.
Only miserable Lion. I got it. OK, good one.
See what you did there. Thanks, Theo.
There's breaking news on Docklands, where vandals have gone on a rampage, smashing cars. That's next. Also ahead, some of the biggest names in Australian sport have come together to fight Victoria's medical discrimination. Details next on 7 News.
And Aussie smashes the world sailing record set by his father.
Plus, I'll have your weather forecast live from the Maury Plant Athletics event here in Albert Park tonight. See you soon with my live chat with Bruce McAvaney.
To breaking news coming in from Docklands, more than a dozen cars have been damaged in a wild vandalism spree. Some vehicles have had their side windows smashed, others have significant damage to the front and back windscreens. Cars are parked along Docklands Drive. Some of Australian sport's biggest names have joined forces to beat medication discrimination. Fighting injuries themselves, they're backing a campaign by the Legalise Cannabis Party to stamp out prescription drug stigma in the workplace.
Hi, I'm Al Clarkson, and I've come with Cropper more than once, both on and off the field.
He's won 4 AFL premierships.
Hi, I'm Lauren Jackson, and in my career, I've had my fair share of knocks.
She's won 3 Olympic silver medals.
I'm Damien Oliver, and in my time, I've sustained more than a few injuries.
He's won 3 Melbourne Cups. They all need prescription medication and are on a crusade.
No one should treat you any differently if your doctor prescribes you medication.
They back a Legalise Cannabis Party private members bill that outlaws
cases of discrimination, of stigmatisation, of people simply following their doctor's directions.
Without the right medication, I wouldn't be able to walk as we are right now.
A nerve condition confined Angelina to a walker until prescribed medical cannabis, but she claims she was rejected for a job because of that.
They were very clear that we understand it is prescribed, but it is their policy around drugs and alcohol.
Is that fair?
Absolutely not.
Angelina claims she's one of thousands facing discrimination, but
The government generally does not support private members' bills. However, the government would be keen to see the detail.
But these stars don't like losing.
I really hope the government supports this.
I take medication and I vote.
Nick McCallum, 7 News.
Tasmanian sailor Tristan Gourlay has smashed the Australian solo circumnavigation record, taking the title from his own father. He crossed the finish line on the River Derwent this morning.
A Hobart homecoming, Tristan Gourlay returning to Tasmanian waters after 5 months alone at sea, crossing the marine finish line just after 6 this morning. His 138-day voyage making him the fastest Australian to sail non-stop unassisted around the world.
It's sort of still sinking in, really, but it feels good to have finished. Happy to make it home in one piece.
Achieving what seemed impossible, beating his father's record that stood since 2007.
He's come out shining and put in a cracking time, and what more could a father want? 19 years and I go a lot of places and people recognise me, so I'm happy to handball that to him.
A hero's welcome as he docked his Blue Moon 2 yacht and finally planted his feet on solid ground. It hasn't been all smooth sailing. Tristan has encountered several challenges at sea, one of the major ones being his loss of satellite communication and the batteries used for charging his motor. Rebecca Gadaneris, 7 News.
Stowers joins us from the Maurie plant meet in Albert Park ahead of sprint sensation Gout Gout's final later tonight.
Tyra, there's a huge tent out there.
Yes, Karina, well, close to 10,000 people have packed out Lakeside Stadium here for one of the biggest events on the athletics calendar, and one of them being our very own Bruce McAvaney. Now, Bruce, how great is this event for the sport?
Well, it's our biggest single event in athletics for the year in Australia, and you can see the buzz around us. I mean, it's almost a sellout. It's incredible. It's been a huge build-up. We've got so many people from international areas. We've got all the best Australians here, and there are only 11 of these meetings in the world each year, and we've got one of them. So it's really big, Tyra.
It's very special to have it, as you said. What do you think will be the highlight for us tonight?
How long have you got? But I guess in the end, there are so many great races and so many great field events. We've got Olympic champion Nina Kennedy coming back, but I think it's the big battle between Gout and Lockie Kennedy. Gout's 18 years of age. He's a phenomenon. You would have heard of him, I know that. And Lockie Kennedy beat him here last year, and he's awesome as well. So I reckon, Tyra, that's the big race, and that's the conclusion of our telecast tonight. Men's 200, Gout versus Kennedy. It doesn't get much better than that.
Amazing. And just lastly, Bruce, I mean, it was a pretty miserable old morning. How beautiful has it turned out this evening?
It is fantastic. It's a miracle. Because this morning I thought, oh no, how disappointing. It is a beautiful night. The sun is shining. The crowd are absolutely buzzing. I'll probably take my jacket off. That's how good it is.
Thank you so much for your time, Bruce. Appreciate it. And I'll be back a little later to tell you how the rest of our forecast is shaping up. Mike and Karina, but what a night it's going to be.
Bruce McAvaney with the weather. I love it. Okay, thank you, Bruce.
Federal opposition leader Angus Taylor is facing an uphill battle wedged between Labor and One Nation. Next, a 7 News exclusive on the toughest job in politics.
Also ahead, a Chinese soldier's accidental hit on high-ranking officers and politicians.
The young girl who went from learning to walk again to the state athletics championship.
And later, how supermarkets are helping families afford an Easter feast. Angus Taylor arguably has the hardest job in politics, leading a depleted opposition against a dominant Labor government and a resurgent One Nation. The new Liberal leader sat down with 7 News to discuss the fuel crisis, immigration and the budget, also opening up on a painful time in his younger years.
Angus Taylor is taking his role as opposition leader by the horns.
Right, Charlie. No. He's responsive.
A Liberal from the bush and proving it to 7 News at the Camden show in his electorate outside Sydney.
Have you ever ridden the bullbush? I have.
As for shearing a sheep,
it's going pretty well here.
The 59-year-old is also handy with a whip. Skills he learnt growing up on a property in the Snowy Mountains.
It breeds, I guess, a strong philosophy that hard work should deliver a reward, and I think we're losing that in this country.
An upbringing that included the death of his mother Anne from cancer when he was just 22.
I think anyone who loses a parent when they're reasonably young, it's a very big deal. But you pitch in and you learn about the value of family.
The Issue podcast sitting down with the new coalition leader, asking the questions voters want to know.
How do you beat the Prime Minister?
Well, by pointing out that he hasn't protected our way of life, and he has overseen the biggest hit to our standard of living.
The government is under the pump over fuel distribution problems, but hits back at Taylor over a decision he made as Energy Minister in 2020.
We have our own reserves in Australia. Angus Taylor kept our reserves in Texas.
Why did you make that decision?
I got as much fuel as I could stocked for Australia at a time when we had no storage in this country.
Now doing a 180, making the case for domestic oil production.
Well, I do want to drill. I do want to make more things. I do want to build more things in this country.
He's also promising not to repeat the mistakes made as Shadow Treasurer under Peter Dutton that Labor has not forgotten.
He took to the election a policy of higher taxes, bigger deficits and more debt.
Did you have a falling out with Peter Dutton?
No, Peter and I have always got on well. It didn't mean we always agreed on everything.
Also disagreeing with Pauline Hanson's claim there are no good Muslims.
There's many good Muslims here today at the Camden Show, and they believe in our core values.
Playing to win. Josh Martin, 7 News.
And for Josh Martin's full interview with Angus Taylor, go to 7news.com.au/The Issue. Download Listener or go wherever you get your podcast.
The commander of a Chinese infantry fighting vehicle could be in hot water after accidentally hitting a group of VIPs with a smoke grenade. The armoured vehicle was part of a military demonstration in front of high-ranking officers and politicians. It's not clear if anyone was seriously injured.
A 13-year-old girl has gone from having to learn to walk again to qualifying for the State Athletics Championships.
She's battling a rare condition, but is now making strides with the help of prosthetics.
On track for a miracle.
We never dreamed that she'd be running on her own 2 feet.
After relying on a wheelchair for years, Matilda Bugden is off and running.
It makes me seriously emotional because I've watched her fight so hard just to be alive.
It's just so much fun. You get to be like free and enjoy running.
The 13-year-old has battled tuberous sclerosis for most of her life, a rare genetic disorder which causes benign tumours to grow on major organs, including her heart and brain, impacting her development and causing seizures.
Are you okay?
I feel like I have a seizure.
She's going to go down. Ankle instability, some balance issues. 7 years ago, she was in hospital for a few months. She had to learn to walk again for the 3rd time in her life.
Now, with the help of custom carbon fibre orthosis on her feet, made in-house at the Royal Children's Hospital, Matilda is competing in para-athletics, notching up personal bests in the 800 and 400 metre events, as well as long jump.
I felt like I did better than I usually do on a normal Saturday athletics.
Well done, darling. You did awesome. Matilda often comes in with her medals. Being able to support her and help her achieve her best is the best part of the job.
The teenager is doing so well, she's headed to the state championships.
The hospital is very much like home too. The staff aren't just workers in a hospital, they're our family.
Matilda Bugden.
Christy Mayer, 7 News.
Well done, Matilda. She's just awesome. Staff at a country pub have put themselves in harm's way to end a wild brawl between warring parties. That's next.
Also ahead on 7 News, the suburban dad who just kicked more goals than Plugger in a single day.
NASA's new plan to go back to the moon as early as next week.
And your chance to own a suburban palace and help save sick Victorian children.
2 men have been arrested and at least 1 person taken to hospital after a wild brawl at a pub in country South Australia. The clash erupted inside the pokies room at the Air Hotel in Whyalla, fists flying and patrons wrestling on the floor. Both of the arrested men are tonight out on bail.
A Melbourne dad has kicked more than 2,000 goals in 24 hours to set a new record and raise $100,000 for charity. Matt Walsh is exhausted after putting AFL heroes to shame, but says local support helped him to finish strong.
Finally, Walshy reaches his ultimate goal.
It was a bit easier the last hour than the 23 before it because of just all the support. So, it was pretty cool.
The Williamstown over 35s star battled pain and rain, night and day. A staggering 2,379 goals in 24 hours.
It's going to go!
Tony Lockett kicked his AFL record 1,360 in 18 seasons.
Probably exceeded my expectations of what I thought I could do.
The 43-year-old also raised $100,000 for 4 charities.
I don't know how he's going to walk out of here after kicking for 24 hours.
His immediate goal, no more goals.
The whole body's pretty cooked, to be honest.
Nick McCallum, 7 News.
Well done, Walshy. This week's Property Pulse was built with heart to support some brave kids at the Royal Children's Hospital. Here's Sarah Jones.
It's not every day you get to purchase your dream home and give back in the process, but the Good Friday Appeal Charity House offers just that. Built, landscaped and fully furnished, all that's left to do is make your bid and move on in.
This year it's a no reserve auction on Good Friday, so whatever amount is raised, every single dollar will go to the hospital.
The north-facing 448 square metre block in Tarneed offers 5 bedrooms across 2 stories. There are separate living zones, including a theatre, and luxuries outside too.
The house is located at our prestigious Amor estate, which has got a club with all the pools, gyms, tennis courts, parents' lounge, function areas, cafe.
A home like this isn't built in a day. 73 Resort Boulevard has been a labour of love for hundreds of volunteers.
This year is Villawood's 17th year of doing the house. We've raised over $12.3 million. The last 5 years we've got over $1 million per house, so we're actually hoping this year will really blast that apart.
Every bid will make a difference when the property goes under the hammer at 2 p.m. on Good Friday, with all money raised supporting world-class paediatric care.
It's a stunning house. For the first time in half a century, NASA will send a crew of astronauts to the moon. During the 10-day mission, 4 astronauts will travel deeper into space than any human has ever ventured before. They won't land on the moon, but loop around it.
We have the opportunity to see parts of the far side of the moon with human eyes that have never been seen before, and that's a really exciting thing to be a part of.
The Artemis 2 crew could take off as early as next week. Well, Theo's back with sport, and reality's biting for the Saints, Theo.
Yeah, they didn't lose too many friends this afternoon, Karina, as they pushed the Lions, but they do slip to 1-3. Coming up next, the young star raises the roof as across Ross is forced to watch the Lions roar to life. More pain for the Pies skipper and a star midfielder. The thrilling photo finish deciding the Australia Cup, and Oscar Piastri pushes it to the limit in Japan. Welcome back. Chris Fagan had the last laugh as Ross Lyon conceded. The Saints were overwhelmed late by a rampant reigning premiers. Brisbane's 33-point win set up by an onslaught in crunch time, dropping St Kilda to 1-3. The Lions roaring in Melbourne once again. The post-match address, the only thing not going the Brisbane coach's way.
Can you let us stand up and do it?
3/4 time, we felt good and we started the quarter okay, and then it was they just got hold of us.
Breathing life into their season with a final quarter burst worthy of a 2-time reigning premier. Back-to-back goals early in the fourth, giving the Saints the lead. Then the gulf in class was truly exposed in a final 15 minutes that would have put the competition on notice. Zach Bailey on the burst, backed up by a cool Kitty Coleman slicing and dicing his way through traffic, leaving Ross the only Lion less than impressed. His frustration hitting fever pitch as Rayner, then Cameron struck twice in 45 seconds to put the big spending Saints to bed.
They might go a cappella here, the Lion fans.
Tempers threatened to boil over, the Saints finally going into bat for Nasiah Wanganeen-Millerer as Liam Ryan sent Jared Berry to the Marvel Stadium turf. The Saints star then losing his cool as he took matters into his own hands, while teammate Alex Taru raised the roof.
The Flying Viking took the elevator.
Despite Wanganeen-Millerer's usual eye-catching heroics with the ball, Saints winners were few and far between late in the piece. Cooper Sharman kicked 3 before his day ended early with concussion. Liam Ryan also finished with 3, Jack Higgins with 2, but in the win column, still just 1.
We'll take the feedback. We're all a bit disappointed, but in saying that, I think the foundation is strong too.
Collingwood set to face the reigning premiers without captain Darcy Moore and superstar Scott Pendlebury. The pair all but ruled out of Easter Thursday after last night's win over GWS.
Saturday morning spent at Scans. Scott Pendlebury sent for a check-up on his Achilles, put on ice late last night. The 38-year-old is just 5 games off breaking the all-time record.
I feel like I can't really roll through and push through, and we had a go trying to get it going, and we come back out and we're up by 25 points, so they just said it's not worth it, just rest up.
He was unlikely to go this game, and so we'll probably stick to that plan.
Darcy Moore snuck in for Scans on his hamstring. He'd only just come back from a calf injury. The skipper likely to miss next week too.
He's not right, he's not 100%, and so has he done a hamstring? I'm not sure, I don't think so. That's what I've been told, but we'll obviously do all the investigation and find out. But I'd say he's unlikely 6 days we'd travel to Brisbane.
41,000 fans watched on at Marvel Stadium as the Pies made a statement against an undermanned GWS, while debutant Oscar Steen had his moment too.
There we go! Welcome to the big league!
I think it's the best day of my life so far. The whole day, the build-up was unreal. I was pretty nervous, and just to come away with a win. And it's so special playing with guys I've looked up to for so long.
A 33-point win with Tim Membry booting 4 goals.
We appreciate that. We respect the GWS. They were hard to beat tonight, and we'll learn many lessons out of this one, and we'll come to Brisbane in 6 days' time.
Kate Massey, 7 News.
3 goals from Steely Green has helped the Tigers push the Dockers early in Perth as fears of torrential rain eased. Tim Taranto also made his presence felt in front of goal. His second giving Richmond the lead before Freo hit back just before half-time. The Tigers' joy was short-lived. Fremantle in front by 54 points late in the final quarter. 18-year-old Lucas Harrington has emerged as a genuine World Cup bolter, starring on Socceroos' debut in last night's 1-0 win over Cameroon. Harrington became Australia's youngest debutant defender in 45 years. Geordie Boss scored late to seal a scrappy win in Sydney.
By giving players an opportunity, I think in the end should help us at the World Cup.
The Socceroos face Curaçao here in Melbourne on Tuesday in their last game before heading off to the World Cup in North America. There's been one of the greatest photo finishes in the Australia Cup at Flemington. Light infantryman claiming the iconic Group 1 by the slimmest of margins, chasing down Pride of Jenny in the final moments.
I'm just a bit shocked because Jenny, she's amazing, and I actually thought the deck may have beat me, so I've gone early with the knuckles.
It marks back-to-back wins for the Kieran Maher star in the Australia Cup. Mercedes continues to dominate the Formula One season. Kimi Antonelli is on pole in Japan ahead of teammate George Russell, with Oscar Piastri in third.
Nice to get into the top 3. I think this weekend we've looked good, and I think we've executed well. You know, we clearly don't have the pace or the grip to match Mercedes still, but we're getting closer.
Unbeaten at Suzuka since 2022, Max Verstappen will start from 11th on the grid tomorrow. Good luck, Oscar. Big race. Not the biggest race everyone's looking forward to. Of course, Run for the Kids tomorrow morning. That's going to be massive.
You're going to be there? You ready?
I'll be there. Yeah, I've done some prep. I know you wanted me to run a certain style. You know, I've been told I have to cover up, Mike, so bad luck for you. Training, not too bad.
Okay.
Looking forward to having a bit of fun.
Yeah, it's a terrific.
You need donations.
As much as we can possibly raise for the youngsters, of course.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Good
Thanks,
luck,
Theo. Well, supermarkets are under pressure to offer better value this Easter as Victorians tighten their belts.
Cost of living pressures are forcing families to rethink what goes in the trolley, but some traditions remain strong.
There's nothing quite like a freshly baked hot cross bun. And Aussies can't get enough. Coles, Woolworths, Aldi and IGA will sell more than 122 million this Easter, along with other festive favourites.
We'll be going through 280 tonnes of our prawn lines. We'll also be moving through 140 tonnes of our fresh fish.
We're expecting to sell a whopping 3,000 tonnes of chocolate eggs and bunnies.
But behind those bumper sales, there's growing pressure over pricing.
I think supermarket shoppers have been very critical of supermarkets over the last 12 to 18 months. They're very sensitive to price increases.
Supermarkets are being forced to prove they're delivering value. They're trying by cycling through specials. Aldi's affordable Easter menu, entree, main, sides and dessert serves 6 for under $70.
Value is the key thing, I think, for everybody this time of year, especially right now.
The biggest price hike we've seen in store this Easter is chocolate. After a year of volatility, while the war in the Middle East is pushing up shipping and fuel costs, farmers expect food prices to rise within weeks.
Georgia Holland, 7 News.
Tyra returns now with the forecast. Tyra, another great start to the weekend. How's the rest of it look?
Well, Mike, good news, it should remain dry for the rest of the weekend before we do see some warmth return next week. I have all those details for you next. Welcome back to the Murray Plant Athletics event here at Albert Park tonight, where we had a grey start with showers today, but you would have seen that this eased right throughout the day, and we've actually ended it with some sunshine, which is nice to see. 12.5 was our overnight low, so quite chilly, and then it climbed to 19 degrees, and we are sitting just below that on 17 at the moment. Okay, let's take a look at what happened around your suburb today. Well, a cloudy start with a morning shower and some cool southerly winds. The city saw about 5 millimetres fall around Metro Melbourne, 11 in Frankston, Essendon 11 too, and Geelong got to 20 degrees today. Further out, cloudy south of the ranges with scattered showers. Elsewhere has been cloudy, and the northwest of the state had isolated showers rolling this afternoon. Just 9 degrees to start in Hamilton, Colac 10, then Wangaratta started on 6. Now, the southerly airstream that has brought these chilly conditions to Victoria has started to ease ever so slightly. The low pressure system off the south coast of New South Wales moves east, and we do have a high pressure system on the way tomorrow, which will start to bring some warmer weather for us. Around the country tomorrow, Brisbane partly cloudy and 28, 25 in Sydney, Canberra sunshine and 22. The low is just 7 degrees. Hobart 20, partly cloudy, Adelaide 26, showers out west and 33 in Darwin. Back home now, patchy fog in the north and cloudy in the south with showers which should clear by tomorrow afternoon. If you're in the north, it's looking like it's going to be dry and sunny for a nice mild day. Bendigo 23 and Mildura top at 24 there. Closer in, another cloudy day on the cards tomorrow. Slight chance of a drizzle in the morning, but the afternoon is looking clear at this stage. 20 in Point Cook and 21 Melton. Looking ahead now, cloudy and a top of 20 tomorrow. The sunshine then starts to return on Monday. Midweek then starts to feel like summer again. Tuesday 28, 26 and a sprinkle on Wednesday, 25 Thursday and clear, with a slight chance of a shower on Good Friday and clear for the long weekend. Sunny top of 20, so we could have a bit of a morning drizzle, but it is time for Pet of the Week.
Meet Raven, the playful and intelligent black tortoise-shell cat. Raven loves to have fun and will enjoy playing with wand toys and puzzle feeders. Her perfect new home will be with someone patient, supportive, and who can respect her need for space and boundaries. Now, if you're looking for a bright and playful cat with who you can build a relationship of trust and respect, Raven could be your perfect match.
Very cute best friend there. And guys, if you're wanting to watch the athletics tonight, it looks amazing. It'll be live and free on 7 right after the news.
Okay, Tyra, thank you. And that's 7 News for this Saturday. We'll have updates throughout the night.
For now, from the 7 News team, take care and good night.
The 7 News app will give you the news you want every minute of every day, including breaking news alerts. Download the 7 News app now.